wait for, okay. I pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America,
of the United States, and republic for which one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a quorum present. Our next meeting date is January 28th, 2022.
next year.
And at this point, I'd like to ask Barry Shulman, he'd like to make a few remarks and an announcement, and I'd like to turn this over to our longtime friend and counselor, Barry.
Thanks. So this is Brad Hunt, who will be taking over for me, a law partner, very bright, brighter than I. And he's with Steve Helmer, telling him what to say, like Steve told me what to say, and heading up all of the litigation aspects of the authority, plus a lot of the corporate stuff too.
Where are you going?
So, sorry?
Where are you going?
Where am I going? There. That's right. When I wrote the law that created the authority, I was 30 years old.
What for Senator Hughes at that point?
I was counsel to Senator Hughes, and I was very lucky. In fact, Senator Hughes' flags are in Steve's office, and I bought them and carried them in. So there's a lot of history. I was 40 then, I'm 82 now. And I'm not leaving the law firm.
Okay.
Am I? But it's time, it's time
Yeah.
for people to move on and make way for other people to move on. I think when, over the years, we've been twice the best transit system in North America. We were the first to put lifts on buses by the U-Haul, Lift U company. And it's been wonderful, and what gratifies me is that I'm leaving the authority at a time when it could not have been in better hands. And I'm talking about the staff, I'm talking about the board, and I'm talking about the legal counsel as well. You can go to...
Especially the legal counsel.
Especially. But you can go a long way and never find any team as well put together and as conscientious and as professional as this. So I've been honored to know all of you and so many more over us and all the years. I am still practicing law, still Mackenzie Hughes, and I'm around to help wherever I can. So I just wanted,
I just wanted to...
When you think about it, I mean, this is the guy that wrote the law that created this authority.
A lot of history, and been fortunate over the years under Barry's leadership. We've had a lot of people with a lot of historic knowledge that put a lot of time on this board in some capacity over the years, or as a staff member, as we've seen over the last few months. And it's been a privilege. I've been working with Barry for 17 years. I've worked with Barry when we merged the Utica Transit Authority with this authority. And Barry's always been so knowledgeable, open, call him at any time, and I've called him at some weird times. And he's just a good friend of the authority, and when the time is appropriate, we will acknowledge you formally for everything that you've done for this authority. I know the board wants to do that, and along with the staff and management and everybody.
Thank you.
I want to say, Barry, it's a pleasure getting to know you. I'm just getting to know you and everything.
It was nothing you said.
That's not what you said in the hallway.
Well, Barry, who's going to list for us tips and tricks now? If you're
Brad.
Barry has one other little, tell the board just from a personal thing, one of the loves you have and passions in your life on the outside.
I have a wife, 3 children, and I teach tap dancing.
Tap dancing,
I am
yes.
a wonderful tap
My
dancer.
son,
Oh, yeah.
my son takes his tap class
Yeah?
and just
Wow.
loves it.
How many kids you got, Bill?
Well, that's a complicated question. My son died last year.
Oh, okay.
So Mark would have been 3.
Yeah,
But he's tap,
yeah.
You know, but
And he doesn't just stand there and tell you what to do. He's 82 years old and he's
Yeah.
up there hoofing it.
So I was gonna say, I need to take those pills.
That's why I sit next to him.
I'm not far behind, I'm 76, so.
well, you're a youngster.
So I went, my son was taking the classes and I went a couple of times. And, I mean, the guy's moving. I mean, he's not,
Yeah.
he's not just calling it in.
Yeah, that's good, that's a good point.
Well, somebody else will call it in. But I can wait. So anyhow, congratulations to all of you with it, that Brad is now on your team, and you'll be very well served by that. And as Steve's remaining on is also the fact you'll be glad to face.
And Barry will still be here. He's still going to be part of Mackenzie Hughes. I expect to consult
Yeah.
him frequently to allow him. I think the year he wrote the law that basically created the authority happens to be the year that I was born. Very,
1970.
yeah.
Little League Baseball.
Yeah.
But,
I was 4.
But that's the duty God called you to do, and that's what your duty was. It is.
When you mentioned Little League Baseball, I made the mistake as a Little League parent once to umpire. They said, "You're here, would you umpire?" And I said, "Sure." So I umpired the first time. The first ball that was hit was our son's, and he was thrown out at first base. And he went there and he said, "You were wrong." I said, "Tie goes to the runner." He said, "It wasn't a tie." And they switched sides, and then they came back, and he looked at me and said, "Everybody thinks you're doing a lousy job." So that was the end of my.
A one and done, huh?
We're very confident with you, Brad. Board's very confident with you and the authority, so.
Appreciate that, and
you
I
bet.
really look forward to working
Yeah.
with you. It's a great organization, great leadership.
Okay.
God bless you, my friend.
You too.
Motion to approve regular minutes of November 22nd. Motion to approve. Okay, Tony, second, Monty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regular COVID update. Explained what we're drawing down. The CARES Act, the CRISP funds. As of the writing of this memo, we had 7 employees out. Where are we?
Like 13, 14?
Now we're at 13 or 14. So as most organizations are feeling, we're not exempt from the spike in recent COVID cases. So we're nowhere near where we were when it first hit in 2020, but we are feeling it. So we've seen a little spike. Oneida County Road Transportation, we're meeting with Herkimer and Oneida County Transportation Council. Talks are going well. We're probably looking at mid-year next year to be taking over their rural transportation. We basically told them that, we're not gonna lose money on this, that, anything that we take over has to be fully funded. So it's gonna be a very limited, much more limited schedule than what they were used to having. Bernie Bus was providing it. We're not gonna be doing anywhere near the number of routes that they're doing. We're gonna be operating Rome to Utica to Turning Stone trip, and you know, a couple others, but that's it. You know, if there isn't funding available for it, we're not gonna provide it. As I said, the last month, we've been having multiple meetings on BRT, on-demand service, bike scooter, third-party administrator RFP, actuarial services that, you know, Caitlin talked about, wellness committee, traffic signal prioritization, and the RPM program. And, you know, we continue to meet regularly on all of those. SMTC certification from November 30th through December 2nd. We participated in the SMTC federal certification process. They have to be certified. And because I'm chairman of the policy committee, I'll also have to follow up and do an individual meeting with them in January. Public transit funding, December 3rd. Myself, Chairman Lano and Chris met with Mayor Utica to discuss public transit funding. This was really more, it was actually a very good meeting. You know, we're looking to consolidate, well, we're looking to leave our facility in Utica. For those of you that are new to the board, there was a flood and cost us about $500,000.
Not the first time they don't.
Right.
Many times.
It's in a watershed. I mean, there's no disputing that. So that flood cost us, you know, $500,000, and we're looking to get out of that building. We don't own it, the county does. So we talked to the mayor about that. He wanted some service changes that he's looking for, which we're also continuing to talk with him about.
It was a good, productive meeting, the
It
department
was.
heads were there.
The unfortunate
It was good
part is-
collaboration.
I mean, the good news for them, but bad news for us is they don't have a lot of vacant land. I mean,
That's the problem.
you know, I mean, that's a great thing for a city to have, you know, to be in a position where all your, everything's taxable.
I had
So-
4 major goals when I came on this board from Utica Transit Authority, and I got three were already done, and one of them was to really put a good garage and administrative office into a dry place, and that was convenient not only for Utica and the surrounding townships we serve, but also for Rome. So at some point for my end of the tenure, I'm hoping that we reach it. When that is, I don't know. But eventually something has to be done because the rain, what happens is it's unbelievable, and the disruption that it causes, the garage, the offices, it's horrible, and it's been happening for years. So it's a conversation, like I said, could be how many years, but at least it was a nice conversation. I think that Brian and Chris represented the authority well, letting the mayor and the department heads know of what was going on, and I think they really appreciated it. And I did get a call back saying at some point, I know the mayor and his chief of staff would like to come up to see this property.
Yeah, we're looking to relocate it. You know, we wanna move someplace between, you know, almost equidistant from Utica and Rome. Someplace in the middle, that we can consolidate both facilities and operate out of there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, maybe to have the two or something.
Yeah, and
Could it
that's
just
what
be
we're
a
looking for.
little larger facility?
So our next move might be to be reaching out to, Vicente, the county exec, to see if he's got any land he's willing to give up.
Dry land.
Dry land. Yeah, exactly.
So you're gonna build.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I have, Chris.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. 2 items to bring up, and one of them I just wanted to, as we sit in all these meetings in the audit and finance, and we pick on Caitlin for spending all the money, we wanted to give you guys a little showcase of what the money is being spent on. So about a year ago, you guys approved the purchase of mobile validators. So this is a mobile ticketing option that allows your cell phone through our app to buy passes, bus passes, tickets, that you could get on the bus and just use your phone. It eliminates the need for cash. It also allows you to use a credit card and purchase passes. So in the corner here, just a little show and tell. Right now it's not hooked up to the internet, so it's not going to do anything or scan a phone. But the unit to the right is the actual validator. So it's connected to the full fare box, which was existing on our buses beforehand. But now what they call the OLV is the validator, which will read your phone. Underneath the bottom of that unit is a barcode reader, or a QR code reader. So where Steve's pointing there, so you would scan it underneath, it'll validate the pass, and then you could just go sit down. So hopefully it'll help expedite some of the boarding options, some of the concerns that we have, especially during the New York State Fair. We're hoping this will allow us to reduce some of the assistant help that we do for a temporary basis, but also allow that customers to purchase passes, scan, get on the bus, and alleviate some of the process. Currently, we're selling almost like 50-50 raffle tickets in a tent off to the side, and then they get out of that line and go get in line to get on the bus. So kind of a multi-function use. There's other options as we're exploring what this validator can do that hopefully into the future we can use for some of our contracted services or different items. So right now, these validators are on every fixed route bus across all 4 counties. So we just wanted to make it, I know Julius, you ride, so you probably see them on the buses.
I was wondering what that was,
Yeah,
you know.
so currently we're in testing, Steve and his group and our revenue collection staff, Jeannie, under Linda's group. They're currently testing all the fare sets, all locations, to make sure that everything is functioning properly before we go live with this. Our target right now is to go live in April of '22, unless something comes up, but.
So how are y'all promoting this with the driver? The drivers taking training in this?
They will, yes. Right now, we're troubleshooting it on our end to make sure that our software is up and running. Mike's team and actually Carlos are in the weeds with our vendor, GFI.
Kind of similar, like when this thing comes to when the bus start talking to you. What's it called, that thing? The bus talk to you, let know what street you're on or something?
Oh, the announcements,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
PA announcements. That is through our Clever devices, but this actually connects through Clever to get to the Wi-Fi. It's a different module but so in this case, they're out there. We're troubleshooting it now, but there will be training for the operators. Actually, probably on this unit once we're comfortable that everything is fixed and there's no bugs or nuances.
We want it to be as near perfect as possible.
So that way, when we roll this out, it's convenient for the customer. You know, from Steve's point in the marketing side, when we're ready to do that, we'll do videos, we'll do promotions on our social media and different things on how to use it, how to function with it, and the user friendliness of it.
One thing I was noticing when of course I ride the bus is that I have to make sure that it's not confusing to the driver, because if any misinformation get out there, they're gonna be messed up.
Yeah, and that's and from Steve's department and what we're trying to do with Brian and everybody, we're all hands on deck to hopefully get everybody trained, do some. We're in the process of rolling out a new learning management system that we can also put this training on as a video to show them how to function with it. The fare box will still accept cash, so it doesn't require anybody to say, hey, we're not going cashless. So the cash will still be an option to be accepted on the fare box, but this is just another option to hopefully expedite and provide a better service.
Hopefully be a convenience.
Yes, and then just another item for the board on December 15th, as some of you might have seen, the Salvation Army and the Christmas Bureau operating out of the On Center to provide that service. We also provided transportation to and from that for individuals that wanted to attend that or participate in that program. We don't have full ridership numbers because of several buses cross paths at the On Center. So it's tough to determine who actually was going on that route or who was not. But we did advertise and provide a special bus that transported individuals from the hub to the On Center. So we just wanted to make the board aware of that. That took place on this week. And that is all I have. Unless there's any questions, just Julius.
Yeah, I think this is part of the same, you're training new drivers also, right?
Correct.
How many stayed and how many didn't stay?
I think that's Jackie's report. I don't want to get yelled at.
I'm sorry.
They're working their way around the board. I don't want to. So, any other questions?
Can't imagine you to read a flip phone.
Tell them we're all afraid.
If it's a basic flip phone, no. But I know some of the newer flip phones are getting into where, is it really a flip phone or is it a smartphone that flips? You know, if you can download our Go Central Bus app, which we're in the process of upgrading as well, you'll be able to buy passes and do everything right through our current app once we release the upgrade. So once that happens, if your phone is capable
Chris,
of doing that.
it's not my phone, Chris.
Oh, okay. I think I heard you earlier say it was your mom's phone, maybe. But, so that's why, you know, if it doesn't have the capabilities, we could still accept cash and you could buy passes. And
One reason why I mention that, because I get a chance to drive the bus and talk to the drivers and stuff like that. Some of them are happy with their jobs. Some of them just doing it just for the work. Some of them say, "Mama need a dishwasher, baby need a new pair of shoes," so you know they're gonna. And so I get a chance to talk to them, just listen to what they're saying and stuff like that.
Is there, so I gotta imagine this will take some pressure off the drivers, right? Maybe there's less validating, people with the transfers and everything. Is there potential to do like an all-door boarding type operation? Like, could there be a separate unit? Obviously, that's not gonna roll out in April, but is that?
it could potentially do that, yes. You could add another validator unit. In some of the other cities you see, I mean, as far as BRT, which is a conversation down the road, they offer that option. So they have a rear.
Cost.
The handrail.
So there are options with that. I mean, at this point, we're not.
Those are generally done on articulated buses that are longer, just easier to board.
Right,
But
right, I don't
it
think
does
we have the
require-
crush.
It does require an honesty factor, that because we don't have transit police, it would make it a little more difficult for us. But it is out there, bigger cities do it.
Good point. Any other questions? That concludes my report.
Thanks, Chris.
Good job.
Steve?
So, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Brian. Thank
This
you,
is
Mr.
gonna
Chairman.
go,
Good
this is
morning,
gonna go
everybody.
right into our fair discussion.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about our fares. This kind of dovetails a little bit of what Chris was saying. First of all, I want to talk about ridership. Ridership at this point, since we increased service levels in December 8th, have risen about 5%, which is good. They're headed in the right direction. We've added service, we added midday service, we added some morning services. So we have seen an increase in ridership, but we're still down from pre-pandemic levels, still about 50%. So we're not anywhere near where we need to be. And one of the things that we're talking about is a change in the fare structure. For two things, we want to encourage ridership. We really want to get people on the buses. That's what we're here for. We want to fill the buses.
Yeah.
In addition, this restructuring of the fares would provide fare parity between all properties. It would be one size fits all. The cost of a driver, the cost of the bus, the cost of operations is equal across all of our facilities pretty much. So we want to make sure that the cost is equal as well. So that would mean that we would be going to a system where all city fares within the city of wherever you are would be reduced to $1, or would be $1. That is the same as it is in Auburn. It's the same as it is in Oswego, Fulton, and Rome. It is less than Syracuse, which is currently $2. It is less than Utica, where it's $1.50. So I provided with you in your packets an outline of what changes would be for each individual property. We also presented you with an equity analysis to make sure that minority individuals and low-income individuals are not unfairly burdened by these changes. That was performed by our Service Development Department.
That's what I emailed out to you guys last week.
Yeah, there's a summary sheet. Each of them is about 30 pages long, but there's a summary sheet on the front of them. So we're looking at rolling this out tentatively in March. That could change depending on our ability to perform public hearings and public meetings, given the world that we're in right now. That is the tentative date for rollout. And this would require also the elimination of transfers within each location. So it would be a pay-as-you-go every time you get on the bus. Overall, system-wide, from 2019, about 19% of our users use transfers. The overwhelming majority of those are in Syracuse. So what we've done in our fare structure is an individual, for example, that pays $2, hops on a bus, gets a free transfer, does the same thing on the way home. It costs them $4 to get to and from work. We've reduced the cost of a day pass to $4, so those individuals will not be impacted. So we're doing everything we can to mitigate an increase, a fare increase for individuals. But if you are someone who lives in one of the smaller properties, there will be an increase. The transfer rate in the other properties is significantly less than it is in Syracuse, so the impact should be less. But we understand that for some people, this will be a fare increase. For the overwhelming majority of individuals, it'll be substantial fare decrease. The object, again, let's get people on the bus, let's get them to ride. I have open to any and all questions that you may have regarding
Joyce.
the individual fare structures.
How is this come across with the union and stuff like that, the drivers and stuff?
This is, this is something that we determine, that the organization determines the fare structure. I don't know if the union has been notified. I know they're here. They may be hearing about it for the first time right now.
Monty, you got a question?
No, I'm good.
Good. Well, I think we tried this, so I think Bob.
Bob?
We've been doing advertising to try to recruit people. Are we gonna do advertising saying the fares are being?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, this is something, again, where we have to go through a process. We presented the equity analysis to the board. That has to be the first step. Now we are going to begin public rollout. That will begin Monday. We'll put out a press release on Monday to let people know that this is coming. We will perform public hearings. Then we will gather all the feedback from those public hearings. We'll present them to the board for consideration. And then at that point, the board will have to take action prior to implementation.
One other question. I'm hoping that, because the TNT area in this area, we're still doing virtual meetings and stuff like that we could probably get somebody here to come on and explain this on the TNT. I don't know, we have 8 sections with the TNT program on each side of the city. We might be able to combine where you can do it just once, you know. So I'll be talking to the committee and stuff like that and see how we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yep.
So your COLA bus is either staying the same or going down, it looks like.
Correct. And that's a very, very good point. So the call bus fares will be the same in the cities and the smaller properties in Auburn, in Oswego, in Fulton, in Rome. The call bus fares will be the same. They will decrease in Syracuse and in Utica. And we do have some individuals who commute on call bus from Oswego to Syracuse and from Auburn to Syracuse. They will see a decrease as well. So the overall impact, again, it's going to be a one-size-fits-all. This also allows us, as Chris talked about with our technology, to sell every one of our passes will be able to be sold on the fare box. That makes it very convenient. People don't have to go to TOPS, they don't have to go to the hub, they don't have to deal with the TVM. They can buy a pass right when they board, wherever they board. So it provides access for everybody to buy all the passes that are available to them.
And it's gonna simplify our fare system.
The board gets another shot at this. When you're changing fares or tolls, as Steve just said, the enabling legislation for the authority requires a public hearing. And the vote by the entire board, not just the quorum that might be there that day. So the board's involved in fare increases and toll increases. So you'll get this again.
The public hearings may be virtual.
Yeah.
That's very likely, given where we are right now. But we do like to have some in-person meetings, or some maybe separate meetings for the TNT group, or whatever community agencies are interested in having a discussion about how this works. Again, I think overall in Syracuse, people will be very happy. The cost of their bus fares going down.
Just for the board knows, when we've had face-to-face public hearings before, during some darker days, we used to have that in a large room at the Art Center, and the board would sit up in front, and then we'd give everybody the opportunity to speak for or against. At that time, everything was against. But this, I think, is some decent news for the riders.
It is. It really is. It's,
especially with inflation going up the way it is.
It's gonna simplify our system and make it parity across our system.
and simplicity for the user. It's gonna
Right.
really simplify everything for the user. There's not gonna be, oh, do I have to, how much is the fare here, how much is the fare there? It'll make it easier.
Good job, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Jackie? I'm not gonna say anything.
Good morning, everyone, again. Just a little bit of an update, what's going on in human resources. Right now, we're currently in the middle of open enrollment. Open enrollment, if you don't know what it is the time when any employee can change their benefits, whether they jump from one insurance, medical insurance, to different insurance. They can add dependents on, they can take dependents off. Any changes that they wanna make, they can make it this time throughout the year. Along with that, of course, we have the changes that we have to update the personnel data system, which we call PDS, in which, we're updating it for the new premiums that just went into effect for January 1. We're updating it for any other changes that may be occurring, especially with this contract that's coming through. So we're basically, busy at this point, doing all that. On top of that, Julius, you had asked about our recruitment. So we started the new class out with 23 candidates. We're down to 21, so not too bad. They all started on December 6th, which was a few Mondays ago. We had 18 candidates for Syracuse, 2 in Oswego, and 1 in Oneida. On Sunday, we got a little bit of some bad news. 2 of the trainees tested positive for COVID. So we met with the class on Monday and we canceled the class for the week. We had everybody go to get tested before they're eligible to come back. Out of those tests so far, we've had 6 positives out of the class. So at this point, what we've decided to do is cancel the class again for next week, because that will definitely cover the 10 to 12 day quarantine period, and we'll begin the class back on Monday, the December 27th. So that's the update. Any questions, concerns?
Lots of concerns.
Well, I know there's concerns with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. As you know, we've had some struggles with employment, and mechanics have been really tough to find. So I've got good news. We have 3 new employees starting here soon, yes,
All right.
with 2 more potential in the interview process. Just so you know, we usually have about 55 mechanics. We're down to 40. We're going to be up to 47 now with potential of 50, so we'll just be down to 5, which is fantastic news for us all. On the flip side, when it comes to the service and cleaners, unfortunately, we haven't had any movement, so we're really still looking for more employees. And some more good news, with this unusually good weather, some may call it that, with no snow comes a cost savings. We're not using as much salt, equipment's not getting worn, things like that, in addition to labor. We usually come in around 2 a.m. to do a snow event, and they're on the property here clearing everything out, and they're doing the sidewalks and putting salt down. But the bigger thing is the shelters. We've got 156 shelters in Onondaga County, Oswego and Auburn, and then 42 in Oneida. It's a challenge, it's a bear to do it. The staff gets out there with the trucks, and they have to go one to one, and it could be a dangerous situation. So, any questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Yes.
As you know, I ride a bus, driver just go through the whole thing with me. One of the drivers I rode with yesterday, he said there's a place out of, what's that, East Genesee Street and Erie Boulevard come in, there's a place where the bus driver have to come in the lane, they had to cross over, and there's a lot of traffic here, and they had to cross over from the bus. Maybe you take a look at that area, because how do you explain it? Traffic's on this side of the bus here, and they had to come across, they go to the stop sign over here, to the bus driver. Maybe you take a look at
Yeah,
that
you said
area.
it was Erie and
Yeah,
by the
because it's
firehouse?
Huh?
By the firehouse?
Yeah, I think that's it, somewhere in that area, but they had a crossover, and, and sometimes that can be very dangerous, because cars, when the bus driver yesterday was trying to cross over, cars were coming on the side, and he couldn't, couldn't cross over, and they almost doing, out at the 345, bus going to, is it Lafayette? Fayetteville. And he had to cross over, and cars on the side, and that can cause an accident maybe in that area. Does that make sense what I'm just saying? Okay.
We'll look into it.
I was gonna take a picture, look at it and show it to you, but.
Right.
You got a flip phone,
I'm just trying to get used to my new phone. But in that area, by, where Erie Boulevard and East Genesee come in, right in that spot, where the bus driver have to cross over, and the cars be on this side of it.
Why would they have to cross over?
It's a double turn.
It's a double,
lane.
yeah.
We can, he might have been in the left and have to get to the.
Yeah.
We can look into it when, we can pull that around and take a look at
The lane
it.
that he needs to turn over.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Good job.
Thanks, Jeff. Mike?
Good morning, everyone. I want to talk about just a couple of things. The maintenance connection program, as it expands, we're now getting the foremen and the technicians involved and so on. And one of the things that's actually happening is they're requesting different things to happen to it. So for example, our facilities group has a set of codes that they use for categories and problems and causes and so on. Vehicles have it as well too, but when you have over 200 vehicles with all the different things that go on with it, the facilities guys really don't want to see all those codes. So we're learning how to filter some of these kinds of things out. So it's really kind of neat to get everyone involved as much as we possibly can. If we still have to get more people involved, that'll be coming up from that perspective. But also in that process, we're learning things that are not quite working the way they're supposed to. So we've been working with Accruent, and we'll kind of keep that process going as well too. On the cybersecurity side, we had an incident this past week, not an incident, we had a situation this past week. I received an email from Sophos, which is our Managed Threat Detection Response System. It let us know that there was an application that's out there that has a vulnerability or can be manipulated and hacked. It's the application is called Apache. It's Apache Logic 4. And really what it does is it interacts with the Clever Devices systems, or some of the Clever Devices systems, primarily the routers on our buses. It doesn't really affect productivity, if you will, but it does affect our ability to communicate with these systems, to make changes and updates and that kind of thing. Clever Devices suggested on Wednesday that we shut it down, so that server is shut down, not working at this point in time, waiting for a patch and upgrade on it, which I think we should have within the next week or so. The only thing that's really kind of affecting, on another note, is our GFI system that we're working on. Carlos is working on some of the troubleshooting aspects of going. We can't communicate with it at this point to make those things happen. But for production, for the CAD AVL system, which is the computer-aided
What's
drafting.
GFI in this?
GFI is our Genfair Fairbox system.
That thing.
That thing right, yeah, that thing right behind you. And you threw me off there.
I'm sorry, there was a GFI and then there was some other initials.
For CAD AVL. So CAD AVL is our computer-aided dispatching automatic vehicle locating system.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Provided by Clever Devices. Those systems aren't particularly affected by this. They can still communicate with dispatchers, and they can communicate with some of the things that are going on in the bus.
Mike talked a lot of nonsense that nobody understands.
Sorry.
People understand if something goes wrong though.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And you're wondering why you're not allowed to talk.
Does he know?
I'm a slow learner, Tony.
So we should have a patch for that within the next week or so, according to Clever Devices, and bring that back online and get that back going too. So that concludes my report this morning.
Good luck with all that. Good luck.
Thanks.
Mike.
Yeah, I think it'll work.
Any questions for Mike?
Happy holidays.
Chairman, you may move on through your agenda.
Okay, those are really good reports. I acknowledge for us all this is on the table. The Finance Committee met today. We discussed this in detail. Our financial, first, was the financial reports that Linda presented to us. The authority is fiscally at this time, in good shape, and always planning for the future as maybe monies are not out there. At this point, the committee made a motion to move it to the full board for approval. Need a motion to move this.
So moved.
Julius, second. Neil? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Also, Jackie educated us on medical and dental plans and stop-loss insurance renewals with UMR and Sun Life. It was discussed in committee. Everything was vetted the proper way, and a motion was made to approve UMR and also Sun Life. At this point, we need a motion to approve this. Monty?
So moved, Darlene. So moved.
Second, Darlene, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve a third-party administrator for medical services. That was resolution 3B in your packet. Caitlin discussed this, and the contract would be awarded to UMR. Motion was made at the committee level to bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion. Approve, Neil. Second, Tony, to approve UMR. Thank you. Caitlin also discussed the third-party administrator for dental services. That is resolution 3C, to award contract for Delta Dental for a 5-year period for the third-party administrator. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion. Julius, second. Robert, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Resolution 3D, to authorize contract award for actuarial services for 22-27. Once again, all the proper bidding was vetted, and a motion was made to award contract for a 5-year period to Bermershine Consulting for the actuarial services. A motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. I need a motion at this point. Monty, any discussion? Second. Robert, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The transit vehicle tug purchase, which I like this because hopefully this will be more efficient, as Joe and Brian and the team discussed, for our personnel to have this type of equipment. Even though I think Neil brought up a good point of how many months out is this? I think we said 5 to 6. But if it's a way to make things more efficient.
That's Caitlin's fault.
And to help our staff.
She doesn't just let me buy whatever I want to buy.
I think the board is always very supportive of that, so I'm glad. I can't wait till we get that here to help the individuals that are managing without something like this right now. A motion was made to authorize the purchase to Kirk's Automotive for the transit vehicle tug purchase. At this point, I need a motion to approve this. Neil? Second. Julius, all in favor? Aye. Chris brought up
Aye.
lift equipment vehicle services. Motion was made to award the contract to Suburban Transportation for a 5-year term. At this point, I need a motion to approve that. It's resolution 3F. Joe, second. Tony, all in favor?
Darlene?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. With that being said, that was all the business at hand at the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. Good conversation, good questions always. And at this point, we have an operations report coming up by Joe.
Anything besides the contract?
What's that? No.
Anything besides the contract?
Okay, then I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move for an executive session to discuss the contract. Robert, second. Julius, we're going into executive session, discuss the contract. All in favor?